Tonight, on To the Point.
We need to stabilize this market. We need to send the right signals.
Governor Newsom taking a big new step to address the insurance crisis. A growing number of homeowners struggling to find and afford wildfire policies. Plus, deaths in our rivers.
I found her in a hole. She was in the bottom of the hole.
The warning one volunteer diver wants you to hear.
Tracking active weather in the Sierra, plus the heat risk and the fire danger developing this week.
And tracking a blockbuster day in Trump's hush money trial. What new polling suggests the trial's outcome could do to the November election. Good evening. This is To the Point, and I'm Alex Bell. We keep saying it again and again. California is facing an insurance crisis. Homeowners are struggling to find and afford wildfire policies. But tonight, we can report the governor is taking a big new step to address this. The announcement was made during his recent budget news conference, and ABC 10's Becca Hobbecker explains what was said and why it matters.
Over the past 2 years, the majority of California's biggest homeowners insurance companies and many of the smaller ones have paused or limited business in the state. They cite rising risks due to wildfires and other natural disasters, the high cost of rebuilding homes, and state regulations. This has led to tens of thousands of homeowners finding the cost of their coverage skyrocketing or losing coverage altogether and having to turn to the expensive state-mandated insurer of last resort, the California Fair Plan.
I want to be able to afford to live here for a long time.
ABC 10 has been talking with homeowners about this growing crisis for years now.
We've been canceled by our homeowners insurance at least 5 times, possibly 6.
Many retired and on fixed incomes.
My payment has doubled, and I'm not making any more money.
In response, back in September, Governor Gavin Newsom issued an executive order directing California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara to issue emergency regulations addressing the crisis. The result was a sweeping package of reforms with a deadline of December 2024. But on Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom announced he wants action sooner.
December, I don't think we have that much time.
He wants to tack a so-called trailer bill onto this year's budget bill. It would require the state's Department of Insurance to review insurance company rate approval requests within 60 days. Currently, that's a slow process that can take months, and it's one of the complaints that have led these companies to pause writing homeowners insurance in California.
We need to get this rate ruling process done, and that's why we want to expedite it over a 60-day period. We need to stabilize this market. We need to send the right signals. We need to move. We need to move.
I asked the governor if he has talked with insurance companies and gotten reassurances that if the state follows through on these reforms,
then these companies will come back and write once again fully.
Yes, and yes, and yes. That's why I'm moving forward with this trailer bill. Let's go. Let's
so you're
move
hearing
this
from
along.
them?
We've been meeting with everybody on this.
To actually hear on the stage from the governor that not only does he understand that there is a problem, but that he even realizes the urgency factor, meaning we cannot wait another day, let alone through the end of the year, was very refreshing to hear.
Insurance expert Carl Sussman says he's optimistic this change, if passed, could help.
And I can tell you from my conversations with people in the industry and home offices from several insurance companies, they're feeling the same way. If all of these things happen the way they're supposed to happen, they're ready to go. They're starving to write business.
What would you say to the average homeowner who, all over California, I'm thinking of folks I've talked to in the foothills who say, look, I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income, I simply can't possibly live in California for much longer.
And I'm with them. That's why we're doing the trailer bill. I'm with them. That's why I did the executive order. I could not, I can't impress upon them more the urgency that we share.
All right, Becca Hobbecker joining us right now. Can you explain, give some context, how is the governor able to change insurance policy through a budget?
Sure. So the budget is ultimately a bill. It's the California state budget bill. A trailer bill is an additional bill that gets tacked on that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with finance or even the budget, Alex. And, you know, critics say it can be a way to pass policy changes with little or no input from the public. Consumer Watchdog tells me they're worried this could be a rubber stamp for higher insurance rates, but they say they're waiting to see the details of the proposal. And Alex, the governor and the insurance commissioner say they're in this together and they want to see action as soon as possible. By the way, Alex, the governor shared in response to my question that he himself, with his home in the foothills, is also on the FAIR plan, the insurer of last resort.
All right, Becca, thank you so much. And we also want to mention, since the governor's announced his revised budget Friday to close a $56 billion deficit over the next 2 fiscal years, we are learning more about what proposed cuts will do to people across the state. So here's the deal. Today, public health leaders held a news conference saying $300 million in proposed cuts to public health would leave the state unprepared for another pandemic. The group is calling on state lawmakers to reject these proposed cuts. And financial aid for California students could also take a hit in the governor's proposed cuts. According to Cal Matters, the middle class scholarship, which now serves more than 300,000 students, could be hit with a $510 million in cuts. These scholarships apply to UC and CSU students whose household income is below $217,000 a year. The average UC or CSU student gets between $2,500 and $3,000 per academic year. And funding for homelessness programs and affordable housing is also facing proposed cuts. According to mayors of California's biggest cities, the revised budget leaves out about $1 billion for programs, some of which goes to cities and counties. And the governor will be working with state lawmakers to get a balanced budget passed by June 15th. The governor promised no new taxes, and there will be no furloughs for state workers. Of course, we will be watching this very, very closely to see what happens. In other news tonight, an investigation is underway after a stabbing at a Jack in the Box in Modesto. An employee was stabbed at the McHenry Avenue location. Police say there was a disturbance between the employee and the suspect, and the Jack in the Box was evacuated, and that suspect was arrested. The employee was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Tonight, investigators are looking at what led up to a man being shot in his Rio Linda home. It all happened this morning along Bergen Way. We have ABC 10's Luke Cleary live in Rio Linda tonight with more on the investigation. And also, who is that man, Luke?
All right, Alex, well, I'll start with the most important update here first, and that is good news. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says that the victim in this crime, is expected to survive. And we have learned in the hours since this happened at around 10:30 this morning that he is a victim of this organization here, the Rio Linda Water District. Now, I want to show you some video from earlier this morning near where this happened, outside of that man's home. And this is what we know so far. We have learned that from the manager here, the general manager at the Rio Linda Water District, that the victim is a supervisor here who got an alert on his Ring doorbell for a home intruder. He left work to go home and check it out, and that's when he was shot. So the general manager at this water district says that he called the victim shortly after he was shot and spoke to him on the phone for about 30 seconds or so. The man was in serious pain but conscious and able to explain all of this again in just about 30 seconds over the phone. And as you come back out here to me live, it's still early in this investigation, so the sheriff's office was not able to confirm any of those details with us just yet, or whether they have a suspect description or motive in this crime. We'll stay with this as we get more details and bring that to you, Alex. But for now, I'm live here in Rio Linda. Luke Clary, ABC 10.
All right, Luke, thank you so much. Obviously, a big shock to the community, and we are hoping he pulls through. All right, tonight, tragic news and a warning for you as our rivers run cold and fast. Just yesterday, a 52-year-old woman, Coralie Jo Smith, was pulled from the American River in Auburn. The California State Park says she is at least the second person to drown in a river in our area in just the last week. And it comes after a mother, Brenda Duran, went missing in the San Joaquin River last week. Sheriff's deputies say she was trying to rescue her 11-year-old daughter who was struggling in the water. Her daughter and 14-year-old son made it out safely, but Brenda, she vanished. Her body was found by a volunteer diver, the same diver that found the body of a missing Stockton student in the Calaveras River in March.
I found her in a hole. She was in the bottom of the hole. That wasn't a place to take the family for swimming. The rivers have a V shape, so everything is running faster under the water than you can see in the surface. I would recommend the people to be in a calm water. Try not to go to the river. If you see that the current is too strong, don't go.
Juan is hoping that people will heed that warning and wear a life jacket. It is even required by law for kids 13 and under. Coming up onto the point, handling a growing number of calls, how this unique Sacramento Metro fire truck is getting jobs done.
We are tracking Sierra thunderstorms as well as the growing heat in the valley, plus some higher fire danger.
And Michael Cohen, who previously said he would take a bullet for former President Donald Trump, just took the stand against him. How the blockbuster day in court played out. Taking a live look outside right now at the Golden One Center, the rock band Pearl Jam is in town tonight. Let's just say that fans are very excited. Pearl Jam fans, they actually camped out overnight in Sacramento, hoping to be the first to get merchandise and the best 4 seats for tonight's show. Fans follow the band all over the country and flew in for the concert tonight. And Monica, it is a perfect night to go to a concert.
Certainly is, yeah, especially if you had to camp out there and kind of wait for the best seats and the merchandise. It was beautiful outside for today. Had that nice light breeze coming in. Now in the Sierra, we've been tracking a rather active afternoon with areas of thunderstorms, especially for the 80-50 corridor and south of Highway 50. That line here right along 395 and developing throughout the afternoon is going to quiet down for tonight. Behind it, not much going on and not much of a breeze either. That's what's going to be bringing the heat for the rest of the week. Right now, we still have winds 5 to 20 miles per hour. Nice, cool evening breeze after reaching highs today in the mid-80s to near 90 throughout the valley. 79 for Fairfield with plenty of access to that cool Pacific air. Tonight's temperatures will be falling into the 60s by 9 p.m. 10 p.m. still holding at 65 with that forecast low at 54 degrees. The heat is going to continue to build. Less of an onshore flow, more in the way of that high pressure ridge bringing a moderate heat risk. A low fire danger, but it is a little bit more elevated than, say, moist and low for that fire danger. So we're just going to be watching those warm temperatures, breezy northwest winds, and also a low humidity. Here's the ridge of high pressure that's going to be bringing the heat, sinking, warming air. It's going to stay with us through the middle of the week. We're going to keep those above normal temperatures through the end of the week, but then more moderate temperatures by the end of the weekend. Highs in the 70s tomorrow for the Sierra with 80s down low for the foothills, 60s along the coast. But once we start to head inland with less access to that cool Pacific air, highs will warm into the 90s with our 5-day regional forecast showing the dry weather and warm weather throughout the valley, the foothills and the mountains. A little cooler towards the coast, but there's that peak heat on Wednesday in the mid-90s.
All right, Monica, thanks. Next, on to the point. With a growing number of calls, Sacramento Metro Fire is introducing an innovative solution. And why credit card late fees may stay high for a little while longer, and what it could mean for people behind on bills. Welcome back. Over the years, we've reported on an increase in aid calls and first responders struggling with responses. But Sacramento Metro Fire might have found one solution. The team is using squad cars for some non-urgent calls. And as ABC 10's Roxanne Elias explains, the idea has been so successful that a third car is now being introduced to help serve the Arden Arcade and Carmichael areas.
This Sac Metro Squad 102 is fully loaded.
So in here we've got all the medical gear, so we've got a BLS and an ALS bag.
And ready to hit the road with an urgency to respond to any low-level medical call. But what you see here isn't your typical fire truck.
They can respond to low acuity medical aids, minor vehicle accidents, people that maybe have just need some help getting up or locked themselves out of their vehicles. There's a number of things that this resource can do in lieu of having a 40,000-pound fire engine showing up.
Battalion Chief Parker Wilborn says this frees up a fire engine so it can go to life-threatening emergencies. This vehicle stationed at Station 102 on Marconi Avenue will help people in the area of Carmichael and Arden Arcade. 2 of these are already working in North Highlands and Rancho Cordova.
So in the past 15 years, Sacramento County has grown by about 9%, and we've seen a 67% increase in our call volume. So we really are having to think outside the box, get innovative with how we conduct business so we can continue to move forward.
And still provide a high-level service to the community. The vehicle will be manned by 2 advanced level paramedics, and it's expected this squad will run over 3,000 calls a year. That's thousands of calls a regular fire engine doesn't have to go on. It's saving the wear and tear of those engines, which firefighters say could make it last an extra 5 years.
With that 67% increase in call volume, It's very expensive to build new firehouses and staff it with fire engines and fire trucks and those resources. This is an out-of-the-box potential program that is going to do very similar in capability.
And the squad car will also be able to respond to small fires, and they've proven to be so effective that other agencies, such as Sacramento City Fire, are also looking to use the same idea for their fire stations. All right, and your price points tonight. High rent prices around the country are making it hard for the Federal Reserve to beat inflation. The Wall Street Journal reports that stubbornly high housing costs are slowing down much slower than anyone expected. And according to apartments.com, the average price for a 700 square foot one-bedroom apartment in the country right now is a little more than $1,500 a month. And a cap on credit card late fees being introduced by President Biden has been put on hold by a federal judge. It means for right now, fees will stay as is for now. The Biden administration rule stops credit card companies from charging customers late fees higher than $8. It was supposed to go into effect tomorrow. The change is expected to save American families up to $10 billion a year, because right now credit card debt, it is at an all-time high. 45 million Americans are currently paying their credit card bills after the due date. The Federal Reserve says Americans owe more than $1 trillion on their credit cards, or an average of about $6,000 per family. Trump remains on trial, facing criminal charges in a hush money scandal. Today, the last key witness in prosecutors' case against the former president was called to the stand today. Michael Cohen's once former Trump's personal attorney and ally testified against Trump. Take a look. Today, Michael Cohen, who previously said he would take a bullet for Donald Trump, took the stand against him, saying under oath the former president directed him to pay for multiple women's silence.
We paid a lawyer a legal expense, and we have a legal expense is a legal expense. It's marked down in the book, quote, legal expense.
Trump is charged with falsifying business records linked to the $130,000 Cohen paid adult film actress Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election. Prosecutors say the payment was to prevent voters from hearing Daniels' graphic story about an alleged 2006 affair. Trump denies all wrongdoing, including the alleged affair. The defense so far has claimed Trump wanted to kill the story to protect his family. Cohen's testimony today directly contradicts that, saying he wasn't thinking about Melania. This was all about the campaign. He claimed Trump called the Stormy Daniels situation a, quote, disaster for the campaign, adding Trump said women will hate me. Cohen also testified about a catch and kill scheme set up with National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, where they agreed to publish positive stories about Trump and stop negative ones from coming out. Pecker himself testified about that 3 weeks ago. Jurors heard a conversation Cohen surreptitiously recorded between him and Trump in September 2016. It reflects one of those alleged catch and kills, a $150,000 hush money payment to Playboy model Karen McDougal by Pecker.
So what are we going to pay? Funding, yes. When it comes time for the financing, which will be... Listen, what financing? We'll have to pay you. So no.
Some previous witnesses have taken swings at Cohen's reputation. Prosecutor Josh Steinglass conceded he was what you might consider to be some baggage. The defense calls Cohen obsessed, a convicted liar who cannot be trusted. Now, jurors have seen more than 200 pieces of evidence so far in this hush money trial. Cohen is the 20th witness to take the stand. And will this have an impact on Trump's election chances in November? The latest ABC News Ipsos polling finds 80% of Trump supporters say they will still support him even if he's convicted at the end of this trial. 16% say they will reconsider, and 4% will withdraw their vote entirely. Next, on To the Point, celebrating our local Asian, American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. ABC 10 continues to celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month throughout this May. And today, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and actress Lucy Liu gathered at the White House with community leaders from around the country. The president spoke about small businesses, job creation, and his COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. And coming up tomorrow on To The Point, we are featuring a local dance club in the community, a Sacramento-based Japanese ballroom dance group that has stood the test of time. The Tsubaki Dance Group Club was founded in the early 80s. The group continues to serve as a vessel for locals to practice their moves more than 40 years later, and members gather for monthly ballroom dance socials. It's really a time of fellowship and, most importantly, to share their passion for dance.
We're just trying to enjoy the people and dancing.
Yeah, while we can still move.
Now you can learn more about the group tomorrow right here at 6:30 p.m. on To The Point. As always, thank you so much for joining us tonight and welcoming us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.